Thanks, John, and good morning, everyone. Well, firstly to racing today, and here's Gary Harley's selections for the Newcastle meeting this afternoon. The Daily Double will be conducted on races 6 and 8, and in the first leg, which is race 6, Gary likes number 1, Pearly Grey. In the second leg, his selection is number 1, Big Giggle. The trifecta is on race 8, and here's Gary's trifecta for you. Number 1, Big Giggle, to beat number 11, Parkview Lad, and number 4, Bold Burglar. His best bet of the day is in race 7. There he likes number 2, Holborn Court. And now to hang gliding, and Steve Moyes of Sydney has won the 1983 World Hang Gliding Championships, which were conducted in Germany. 2 Americans were second and third, followed by Rick Duncan of Newcastle, of course, of the Flying Duncan fame. Another 2 Australians, Phil Matheson and Ian Jarman, finished 7th and 10th respectively. In the lead up to the World Championships, Russell Duncan, also of Newcastle, was placed 4th in the Foster's Cup in England. Australia's great showing at the Worlds gave it the team trophy, the first time that this has been achieved. Australia's Jan Stevenson has won the Lady Keystone Open Golf Championship in the US for the second time. She sank a 3-metre downhill putt to finish 11 under par with a total of 205 for the 54-hole tournament at the Hershey Country Club in Pennsylvania. Miss Stevenson says the win's especially satisfying because it's the first time she's ever been a repeat winner of the tournament. She won by just 1 stroke from Pat Bradley, who birdied the final hole to go 10 under par.
The meeting was convened by the acting Premier, Mr Jack Ferguson, at the insistence of the federal government to allow representatives in the region to put forward plans to boost the economy and create jobs. An admirable scheme. But, unfortunately, the government failed to let those who attended the meeting in on the plan. Another problem was that the representatives from the various groups received notification of Monday's meeting last Friday, and as a result, many of them came unprepared. The meeting lasted 1 hour instead of the allocated 3. At the meeting, the representatives from the unions, the Hunter Development Board and the regional councils were told that the federal government requires their lists of proposed projects on Wednesday. They were also told that the government couldn't guarantee the necessary funds. Secretary of the Trades Hall Council, Mr Peter Barrick, says the meeting created quite a bit of confusion.
Quite obviously this morning that the confusion concluded the meeting obviously much more rapidly than what time allocated for it. So to that extent people were confused as to what they thought might have come out of the meeting. Really they've got to go back now and do their homework that they probably should have had prepared for today.
Sunday's match between Lakes and West was played at Belmont's Carl Oval in wet conditions and before a large crowd. It resulted in an 8-all draw. The scrum between Lakes prop Michael Bates and his West counterpart Peter Johnston broke out 20 minutes into the second half. After the fight was broken up, both players were dismissed by the referee, Mr Graham Turnbull. The fight had its sequel last night when the 2 players appeared before the Newcastle League judiciary charged with foul play and fighting. Both Bates and Johnston pleaded guilty to the charges. After viewing a videotape of the incident, the 3-man judiciary, chaired by Mr John McMorrow, handed down a guilty verdict, then let the 2 go with a caution. The accident, a collision between a small sedan and a truck, happened shortly before 8 o'clock last night. Apparently the 2 collided head-on, causing the truck to career off the road, down an embankment and into a fence. The front end of the car was badly crushed, trapping the injured driver, 30-year-old Jan Lacey of Broke. To free the injured woman, The police rescue squad had to remove a section of the car's roof. Paramedics flown to the scene in the Westpac rescue helicopter then worked on the side of the road, stabilising the patient before flying her to the Royal Newcastle Hospital. She is suffering head injuries and a fractured thigh and wrist. The driver of the truck was not injured in the collision. Last night's meeting was called to discuss the club's financial problems and to decide whether or not it would adopt the recommendations of the Committee of Inquiry into trotting in the Lower Hunter. It was not long, however, before a series of arguments erupted, with members accusing committee members of not honouring the Constitution by not turning up regularly to meetings. The President, Mr Jones, arrived late and was obviously annoyed at the presence of the media, which he said was causing the club members to play up.
Now, this is a meeting.
Members were told last night that the Newcastle Trotting Club was not in a financial position to hold meetings during July. The club is due to receive payment from the TAB in August, but until then, trotting meetings will not be held at the Newcastle Showground. Meanwhile, the club has agreed to adopt the recommendations of the Committee of Inquiry. The committee has advised that the three Lower Hunter trotting clubs, Maitland, Cessnock and Newcastle, should amalgamate and hold meetings at the yet-to-be-built 5-furlong track at Beresfield. The recommendations were adopted against the advice of Mr Jones. Mr Jones announced his intention to resign as president last night, citing bitchiness as the reason. He said many of the members were more interested in disrupting the industry than they were in trotting.
The meeting continue as per the agenda. All in favour? Against? Carried. Right.
Competing in Moscow against the Russian team, Miss Neubert, shown here finishing second in the 800 metres, improved her performance by 64 points. In the heptathlon, competitors take part in 7 events: sprints, hurdles, field events and the 800 metres, with points awarded for the standard reached. Ramona Neubert's new record is 6,836 points, and she is now a clear favourite to win the title at the World Championships in Helsinki in August.
Well, basically, we can investigate any complaint any member of the public has about their dealings with Commonwealth departments and authorities. We can't get involved in complaints about state government departments or local government authorities. That's the province of the New South Wales Ombudsman, Mr George Masterman. But if it's a Commonwealth authority, then generally speaking, we can investigate a person's complaint.
How busy have you been in Newcastle so far?
Well, up to the present time, we've had about 40-odd complaints, which is very much in line with the sort of numbers we expect to get when we come to Newcastle.
Are they the same sorts of complaints all the time, or are things changing?
No, I don't think things are changing. It's amazing how static the sorts of complaints remain. We get our usual crop of complaints about telecom, social security, Department of Veterans Affairs occasionally, Taxation Office of course is always a big one, but it is amazing no matter where you go throughout the country, the pattern of complaints is very much the same.
What's your success rate at making people happy?
Depends how you mean, what you mean by success.
It depends what you mean by happy too.
And depends what you mean by happy. Certainly we look at around about a third of the complaints that we take up, we get some form of remedy for the complainant. That's across the board. But in addition to that, we find in quite a lot of cases we're able to give people an explanation that they haven't been able to get before, and they do in fact go away happy.
And where can people find you over the next couple of days if they really need you?
Well, tomorrow we'll still be here in Newcastle in the City Hall. Friday morning we'll be in Raymond Terrace at the Port Stephens Shire Council, and in the afternoon at Nelson Bay in the Community Centre.
Work on the student union will begin next week, and the builders have given October 31st as the completion date. The new building is to cost $250,000. The contract was awarded to a Belmont firm, D.F. McCloy Proprietary Limited. The colonial-style timber building was the concept of Newcastle architect Mr. Charles Martin. Mr. Martin is a newcomer to his field, and the college building is his first major project. Students at the college were delighted with the design, although the Student Association didn't expect to be able to build it. When the McCloy Company tendered an affordable price, the students were, to say the least, pleasantly surprised. The Student Association at Newcastle College has not received a building grant. It's been saving for a student union since 1978.
It wasn't easy. We had to cut back in a lot of social areas, and at the same time though we were able to provide the same services that we usually did provide. It just meant not going out and venturing out into other student activities at all. We just had to keep the same ones all the time.
Do you think a union building is something that's really needed on the campus?
It's very needed on this campus. The students just need somewhere to go in order to get away from this building. Plus at the moment our cafeteria is becoming quite overcrowded, and the site that we have been able to obtain is over in the trees right away. It's a lovely site, and the students have all expressed a strong desire to go over there when the building is constructed.
Good morning, and some good results from the New South Wales judo titles. Mark Stewart of the Spears Point RSL Youth Club took out the state title in the 35 kilogram class. The bronze went to David Smith of the Maitland Police Boys Club in that category. Tony Newbury of the Gosford Police Boys in the 45 Ks class got the silver medal, and David Jeffries of Spears Point got the bronze in the 50 Ks and came up for special mention. To overseas now, and it was a day of contrast in the centre court of Wimbledon yesterday. Martina Navratilova was in stunning form as she defeated her South African opponent in just half an hour. Later it took Vitas Gerulaitis 5 sets to get his game together and defeat Indian Ramesh Krishnan, son of the former Indian Davis Cup player. Now to netball, and Australia made a good start in the final round of the World Netball Championships in Singapore. Australia beat England 54-41. They went straight into the finals, remaining undefeated in their last 6 matches. To yachting now, and 2 of the 3 Australian challengers for the America's Cup, remain unbeaten in the selection trials off Newport, Rhode Island in the USA. Australia 2 and Challenge 12 lead the elimination series, which has been shortened because of delays caused by fog and lack of wind. What's new? It happens every year, doesn't it? Yesterday, Challenge defeated the other Australian entry, Advance, which is yet to win a race at Newport. East German athlete Romana Neubert has broken her own world record in the heptathlon.
The turnout at last night's presentations was just one indication of the support there is for technical education in this region. The Great Hall at the Newcastle University was filled to capacity with students, teachers and of course proud relatives. Guests included the Lord Mayor Alderman Joy Cummings and the member for Newcastle, Mr. Arthur Wade. Before the presentations were made, the principal of the Newcastle Technical College, Mr. Ern Hitchcock, gave his annual report. In the report, he made mention of the developments of the past year, but he stressed that so much more could be done if only the funds were available. He finished his speech by congratulating all the students, but particularly those who had received special and state awards for excellence in their chosen fields. In all, 30 prizes were presented and 330 students were given certificates for work in areas ranging from plumbing to childcare. Outside the main auditorium, examples of work produced by the students were displayed, allowing friends and parents to see at first hand just what had earned those prizes and certificates.
This is the centenary year of technical education in New South Wales. The state's technical colleges have no doubt undergone many changes in the past 100 years, but the need for constant updating has only recently become evident. This is particularly true in the industrial Hunter, a region hard hit by the recession. In the past 10 years, technical colleges here have undergone a complete change of emphasis.
The audience at last night's presentation was told that 600 fewer first-year apprentices were taken on this year at Tyers Hill than there were in 1982. That, according to the college principal, Mr. Hitchcock, is a sign of the times. But he added that the college is now playing an important role in technology training and in the retraining of redundant steel workers and others who, due to the industrial downturn, are in need of new skills.
Well, they're fly-drive holidays. They link motel accommodation and self-contained facilities in home units, and concentrating in the Port Stephens, Cessnock and the Newcastle areas. But being a fly-drive program, it does allow a lot of flexibility for people to travel to many other areas in the region.
Do you think the Hunter Valley region has something to offer for people from another state?
Oh, most certainly. Many of the people in Victoria are looking for new destinations. We're not expecting any miracles first year, but we are providing quite a lot of publicity support for it with press, radio, and we are going to get some television coverage in Melbourne, and we believe that it's a good start for us.